Hi, we're back here from American Elgin, and today we're going to be talking about an absolutely incredible watch, one of the prettiest and most impressive of the 27 jewel self-winding Elgins. Now this watch, just to recap for those who haven't seen the prior videos, this watch was made between approximately 1959 and 1963. It was made in the United States. You can see at the bottom of the dial, very nicely written, is American made. And it was indeed made in America. It was made at the famous old main plant of Elgin National Watch Company in Elgin, Illinois, about 40 miles outside of Chicago. And this was part of a family of the only American designed and made automatic watches. So Elgin, in the early 50s, had its first generation of so-called bumper automatic watches, and they sold those for a couple of years. And there was a hiatus when they sold Swiss watches, actually Swiss-made watches. And then in 1959, they launched this line of extremely impressive and rather expensive American-made, American-designed and made full rotor automatic watches. So that full rotor is the modern technology used today, the advanced technology used to make self-winding automatic watches. And the way that works, the technology behind that basically is if you were to take this apart, the watch, and you turn it over in the back of it, you would see that there's a sort of a half moon or half circle shaped pendulum or rotor that spins around the central pivot point inside the watch, and it winds the watch while you wear it and while you walk around, so that you don't need to use this crown here on the right hand side to wind it. Elgin, as mentioned, was the only American company that ever designed and made its own line of full rotor automatic watches, and these are outstanding watches. There's this 27 jewel version, which was sold under the Elgin name, and then there was a 30 jewel version, which is sold under the Lord Elgin name. And if you see our other videos, you'll see discussion of all those watches. And these 27 and 30 jewel watches had the highest jewel count of any watches that Elgin ever made in its entire history of manufacturing in the United States, in the USA, which was started in the 1860s and ended in the 1960s. So in that century plus, this 27 jewel line plus the 30 jewel line, they had the highest jewel count of any Elgin watch. And the jewels, again, as discussed in other videos in more detail, the jewels are not ornaments. They're not the kinds of jewels that you would see like a diamond ring or in somebody's earrings. They are what are called working jewels. They're synthetic sapphires that perform the same function or similar function as ball bearings, and they're basically anti-friction devices that prevent the watch from wearing out, from the metal parts from grinding on each other too much. And they also allow for the watch to be extremely precise. So in the discussion of the 30 jewel watches, we noted how those are considered chronometer quality. Chronometer meaning like the most precise watch you can find, essentially, of mechanical watches. The type of watch that only has a permissible deviation of plus or minus, runs fast or runs slow, only a couple seconds a day. So these are watches on that level. These are very impressive watches, and really, truly outstanding, the technology. But this watch, just for a minute, we'll talk about how beautiful it is. You can see it has this really, really nice 12 o'clock hour markers, very, very classic look. Actually, we talk about a different watch on the American Elgin website, and also AmericanElgin.com website, also on the YouTube channel. And that is the watch that it's an unclear reference number, but it might be case reference 8401. It's a solid 14 karat gold watch. And that one has a similar number 12 at the top of the dial. This is the only Elgin 27 jewel watch that has the name Elgin off center. So usually they're right under the number 12. In this case, it's to the left. And then you can see it has this sort of just very pretty, like starburst kind of design here, just unbelievably attractive. This is one of the nicest watches in this entire line. I have to say it's one of my personal favorites. And it's very interesting for another reason, and that reason is that we'll turn the watch over now. You can see that this watch was made by, so in the old days, in the 1960s, there were companies called watch case companies, and they made the case for the watch. So this is The case is this thing you're looking at right here. This is the back of the case, and the front of the case is the metal part of this. And then inside is the watch movement, the 27 jewel and the hands and dial and all the rest. The inside part is made by Elgin. But the watch case was made by Star Watch Case Company, and you can see it says stainless steel back, 10 karat rolled gold plate, bezel, stainless steel back, and there's a little star there, and that star refers to Star Watch Case Company out of Michigan. And interestingly, Star Watch Case Company made high-end cases not only for Elgin, but also for companies like Omega, which use them. And this particular watch is interesting, and we'll get a little bit in the weeds of these watches, because let's just turn this thing over for a second, and you can see the back of the watch. Okay, you can see it's got the 6 little holes there for opening it. You see here's the same design, and this is the model number of this, or the case number of this particular watch is 9817. So if you were to take this stainless steel case back off and turn it over, you'd see it would say Case in Time by Elgin National Watch Company, and it would say Star Watch Case Company, which is the maker of the case, the metal case, and then it would have the number 9817. Now here's what's really remarkable about this watch, this is the Elgin 27. We'll slide down here for a second before we show the other thing. So this is the Elgin 27 jewel. We'll scroll down. Thin 27 jewel model O, letter O. So you see this is this exact watch, exact same dial. This dial was only used in this particular version of the watch. Now let's scroll back down and we'll take a look at the 2 watches we have here. So I'm going to do a surprise reveal. So I just told you that this is the only dial variant of this watch, of this O model, and it's the only 27 jewel version of this that sits in this particular case. This watch is a Lord Elgin 30 jewel, and this watch uses the exact same case reference number 9817. And this is something that theoretically should not have occurred, because Elgin, at least in this set of 27 30 jewel watches, they never had any case that crossed over except this one. And there's also one other example, which is the letter R model, which I talk about in an earlier video. So in almost all situations, Elgin used a different case for the 27 jewel, and then as opposed to the Lord Elgin 30 jewel, they did not overlap the cases. But here's an example where they did, and these watches have nothing to do with each other. They don't have the same dial designs or anything. This is from the letter B model, so Lord Elgin thin 30 jewel model B. That's the one here, and we'll look at it again. Again, same case made by Star Watch Case Company. Case reference number 9817. These are the same watch. One is a little bit, you can see it's a little, you could read it a little bit better. Maybe it was got a little bit more filled in, or hasn't been cleaned off as much. But they have the same writing on them, exact same case. So we'll put away Lord Elgin 30, and we'll return to this watch now. And this watch is interesting. So in addition to this kind of rather random fact that it uses the same case as a Lord Elgin 30 jewel, and it's called the Model O, and there's only one version of the Model O. Now we'll pull back on here, and we'll see that Elgin's true strength, I think, was in the quality of his watches and the design. And I would say that its marketing efforts maybe could have used a bit of work, because this same watch, which we just talked about, we'll just pan out for a second. We'll see. This is the thin model 27 jewel Model O, and it is also the American-made Model D. So Elgin, for some reason, in some of his advertising, they pulled out certain watches and they gave them a completely different name. They called them American-made. So there's American-made Model C, American-made C, American-made D, and this is the American-made D. This is maybe some kind of short-lived effort to simplify their advertising. I don't know. But as you can see, this is the exact same watch, and we'll pan back to the other one, and we'll take a look. This is, as you can see, this is the exact same watch. There's no question that these are the same, and maybe we could just pan out and look at both ads briefly, and we'll see this is the same watch, and it was given different names. Whoever's involved in the marketing department, they were not on the caliber of the people involved in actually designing and making these, because notwithstanding the confusion about the name or anything else. This watch was just an absolute rocket. I mean, this watch is just absolutely gorgeous. And at that price point of $79.50, it was quite expensive for the time. We won't get into too much detail about that, but the average American worker back then made $50 a week. So this was almost 2 weeks of work pre-tax to earn this kind of money to be able to pay for this watch. And this is quite a rare one. We don't see a lot of these. And the ones we see many are not really that attractive, but this one is it's just gorgeous. Really, there's not, I could look at this watch all day. This is one of my favorites. It's so early 60s, and I say that in a good way because the 60s produced a lot of ugly crap in terms of design. But Elgin didn't. This line of watches, the 27 jewel and the related 30 jewel, almost all the designs hold up extremely well. And this one has that early 60s flair, but it is very attractive, very nice looking watch. And again, it's ultra high quality, designed and made in USA. If you'd like to find out more about these watches, all of the 27 to 30 jewel Elgins, please check out our website, AmericanElgin.com, and our Instagram page on American Elgin. And also check out our other YouTube videos, and please click follow. Thank you.